Hello, everybody. It's Jess, and I am back to share week number 8 with you from the Allison Davis 4x6 photo class. So, for this week, I am using photos from Disney once again, and I'm using papers from the Simple Stories Say Cheese at the Park collection once again. However, I'm using pattern paper for my background. I think this is the first one that I'm using pattern paper in the background for. I did tell you that there would be at least one where I use pattern paper in the background, and this is it. I you know, it was hard. It was hard because I don't like covering up a lot of the pattern that's in the background. So, yeah. So for this layout, I'm fairly certain I make a mistake when putting these strips of paper down. Oh, it's the right side of the page that gives me trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down all of these pattern paper strips, but then the problem then becomes that I don't want them to, or how do I explain this? On the right hand side of the page, there's part of the page that has photos and things on it, and I think I had trouble lining it up properly or something. I'm not sure, but something goes a little bit strange with this layout. I think it was this one. Pretty sure. Oh, and before I get too far, I did sand the edges of my photos because my photos were all black and I wanted them to have a little bit of something around the edges. So I used a Kaiser Craft, I don't know if it's called a distressing tool or just a sanding block or what, but it's basically like a little sandpaper block or like a nail file type block. I got that from my local scrapbook store. I don't know where you can get it anywhere else, but you could always use a piece of fine grit sandpaper as well. That would work just fine. And I just take a tiny little bit of the color off the edges so you do see that white frame around the photos. I did use a Creative Memories border punch for this layout. The sketch calls for a lot of embellishment down at the bottom of the strips of paper. I didn't want to do that. I also didn't want to offset my paper strips. I decided I did not like that look and I wasn't going to do it. So I didn't. I hope you all forgive me. Yeah, all I wrote down was this layout gave me some trouble. I went off from the sketch quite a bit. That's all I wrote down for my thoughts on making this layout. So I mean that wasn't super helpful. So here I am trying to line up the photos and I'm like, but wait, there's something like weird happening here. I don't understand what's going on. Like, why aren't these photos lining up properly? And then it dawns on me, because you're not supposed to be lining up the photos. You're supposed to be lining the photos up with the pattern paper strips that are on the layout. Yeah. Apparently I didn't realize that yet. I don't know when I will realize it, but I just made a little mark on the paper with a pencil to say where the pattern paper strip was going to go, and then I looked at the pattern that I had created with the strips of paper on the other side, and I didn't start it the right way, but that's all right. It all works out in the end. It's fine. You would never really know in the end that there was an issue. So here's where I start to run into problems. I put the border strip down on the paper and I'm like, why isn't this working? Like, what orientation are these photos supposed to go in? Why is there an empty spot at the top? Like, I'm so confused. What is happening here? And I'm like, well, maybe do I add a piece of pattern paper in to bridge the gap? Like, I legitimately couldn't figure out what went wrong, like what the problem was. Now, the problem is that I'm supposed to have a journaling block there. I'm not supposed to be lining the paper up with the photos. So I tried putting this piece of pattern paper strip there, and I'm like, something is still like really wrong. So eventually I think I'm going to look at the sketch and realize like, oh, you're doing this incorrectly this whole time. You're doing it wrong. And I figure it out and I will fix it and everything will be fine, but it takes me a while. So as you can see, this is it's just not going well. Here I'm sitting looking at like, why is there a gap here? What do I put here? What am I missing? How did I not do this properly? Here I realize, oh, I'm supposed to line the photos up with the pattern paper strips and then put something in the middle to cover the gap. Yeah. Took me a long time to figure that out. And you're watching this sped up like 350%. So, yeah, it was a frustrating layout, that's for sure. And then, of course, my paper is like my photos are not the same size as the paper, even though I cut it to the same size. And yeah, so I figured it out. Everything all works. I'm going to trim off the edge of that, I thought, on the right there, but maybe I don't. Maybe I leave it. Oh, I leave it. The layout's right beside me. I leave that, apparently. So I'm going to pick out some embellishments from the sticker sheet. This is Say Cheese at the Park. Say Cheese Adventure at the Park. I always get the title, the name of the collection, a little bit wrong every time I say it. So things go better from this point. After I get the base of the layout down, things start to go better. I just have to embellish and put a title on. I also use some papers from, or not papers, sorry, some stickers from Echo Park Animal Kingdom. That's that sticker sheet there. And Simple Stories, Sunshine and Blue Skies, which apparently I have 2 of. I don't know why I have 2 of them. Perhaps I bought the collection and one came in a kit, or I accidentally bought 2 of the same sticker sheet. I am not sure. But I am going to use some of the florals from that collection on here because they are very similar to the florals that appear in the Simple Stories Say Cheese Adventure at the Park collection. They're not identical, but they're very similar. They have a very similar illustration style to them. So I am going to pull all the stickers and leaves off the sticker sheet. And I ran out of room on my block. So now I'm doing something I don't typically do. I'm putting very themed embellishments on a layout. So I wouldn't typically look at this, especially if there were actual lions in the photos. I wouldn't add lion stickers to the page. But for this, because they were kind of like, I guess, parade or like animatronic, lions and other critters, I thought that it would be okay. I was really wishing that I had the giraffe from the sticker sheet, but apparently that's one of the only animals that I've used. So I'm going to title this Festival of the Lion King. I was just checking to make sure that is what I titled it. Because this is Festival of the Lion King from Animal Kingdom at Disney World. It is probably my favorite show that they do at Disney. I love it. And I really wish we had waited like a month to go and the monkeys would be back. So the monkeys weren't performing when we were there. Now, for letter stickers, I am using, I believe those are Pink Fresh Studio, the little blue puffy stickers. Let me just check. Yes, Pink Fresh Studio puffy stickers. That's a really, well, it looks really pale on the screen there, but it's not. It's not in person. I guess my lights are just making it appear less saturated than the color really is. And then the other stickers that I'm using are the Simple Stories. What's it called? Color something. I forget. But they have like a permanent collection line that has solid pattern paper and the puffy alpha stickers and the sticker books that have all the different alpha, like flat alpha stickers in the different colors. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Color Vibe, maybe? I'm just trying to think. I think it's called Color Vibe. So I am going to embellish this layout in 3 different spots. Here is where I definitely go, not awry, but this is definitely not what the sketch is. I like embellishing in 3 places on my layouts. I don't always do it, but for this 12 by 24 double page spread, I do like doing 3 embellishment spots just to not, well, it does connect the page, but it also makes sure that the viewer is looking where I want them to look, because it's such a big expanse of real estate on a double page layout that I find without subtle guidance that your eye just kind of wanders and misses a lot of the things that are important on the layout. So I'm making sure that I am encompassing all of the photos. So the embellishment clusters, they make a triangle which doesn't surround all the photos, but it touches all the photos. And when I'm doing this sort of thing, I usually put one of the clusters by the title to make sure that you really notice it. I think that's the best way to explain it. I hope that makes sense. I've never really tried to explain that before, but it's hard to explain something like that to somebody, because for me it just sort of like, I just do it. I don't have to think about it. But if you're finding that you're missing things on your layout as you look at it, you might want to try something like this. And then one final step is that I'm just adding some tiny sparkly gems. And that's going to be everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.